Hello, thank you so much for dropping by this video. A very warm welcome to anyone who's new and a very warm welcome back to anyone who's not new. So, I've just woken up and here I am, one more day of life. Now, if you think about it, or when I think about it, here I am, it's the morning, it's one more day of life, but I so often take it for granted. I think we as human beings often take it for granted. The sheer miracle of waking up in the morning of one more day of life. But looked at it from another way, we kind of wake up and I know I do, and I think other people do, we just kind of fall into a routine and kind of just, uh, you know, instead of, oh my God, one more day of life, thank you. It's kind of like, okay, time to get up, time to do this, time to do that, da da da. And so this morning, I'm really thinking about one more day of life. What do I want to do with this one more day of life? And maybe even slightly more subtle, what's the best thing to do with one more day of life? How to live on a very fundamental way. What to do? What's best to do? How are we, I don't like to say supposed to, but how are we supposed to live? Or said maybe even the way that maybe grabs my heart the most, what would, what, um, how to live today that'll bring me happiness? Because let's face it, we human beings, 24/7, we're seeking happiness. We're doing things because we think it'll make us happy. But if we take a look around the world, you might notice maybe we're not doing the we're not doing the best job. We're very good at short-term happiness, although I would argue it's more like short-term pleasure, things that make us feel good in the moment, but then maybe not so good soon after. So here we are, one more day of life, and I want to invite myself and all of us to really reflect. What is the way to live that'll really bring us joy and meaning and peace and fulfillment? So I want to begin to answer, and I've found answers to these questions for myself, and I'm going to share what works for me. And the first thing I want to share, it may be a bit of an unexpected answer. The first thing I want to share is to live well, to live happily. We need to connect to the source of life. Now, when we wake up, really the first thing we do is breathe, but it's pretty much done for us, right? We don't have to wake up and think, oh, it's time to breathe now. Breathing's going on. But without that breathing going on, we can't really do anything. We're utterly dependent on breath for life. Now, what I want to propose is that in a much more subtle way, but just as an important way, we're utterly dependent on life force, the vital life force. In fact, many cultures say that it's through breath that we're not just taking in oxygen, that we actually take in this invisible life force. What if to have a good life, we utterly need this vital, and I'm going to say sacred, life force? Well, most people aren't aware of that. They might wake up and think, I need a cup of coffee. And what if this energy is a fundamental of living well? So it's hard to compare it to breathing because that just happens automatically. And if we don't breathe, we die, right? But at a certain point in exploring life, most people realize if I don't eat well and I don't exercise, I don't move my body in a healthy way, life doesn't go very well. So what if, like, yes, I'm not going to die if I don't eat well and if I don't exercise, but life doesn't really go very well. Well, I don't really thrive. What if we're utterly dependent on this energy to thrive, to really be vibrant and alive and live well? Well, in my experience, that's absolutely true. And this channel is dedicated to this very simple idea that we need this vital life force. So, enough talking. Let's take it in. And there are, throughout history and cross culture, you'll find many, many different ways of taking in this vital energy. And what I'm going to share is literally the most direct that I've become aware of. So please sit with your legs uncrossed, feet flat on the floor, hands on your legs, palms facing upwards, back in a relaxed, upright position, if possible, not leaning against your chair, and then close your eyes. And come into the present moment and hand over. Separate yourself from all burdens, worries, fears. They don't feel good, and dwelling on them doesn't help. We'll talk a little bit more about how to solve those problems in a little bit. But please hand them over to life, to your understanding of a higher power, or a spiritual helper or a spiritual being that you trust. And if you don't have one, I highly recommend a very kind, powerful, humble, and helpful man named Bruno Gröning. I'll speak a little bit more about him as well. But you can literally give your problems and worries and burdens to a spiritual helper, such as Bruno Gröning, such as Christ. So let's give away burdens, worries, fears. And having done so, ask your spiritual helper, ask your understanding of a higher power or God, please, I want to receive this good divine energy. And observe your body, noticing what you feel, having the will and intention to take this energy in. We're going to sit in silence for a little bit and just do that practice. Once again, observing your body, having the will and intention to take this energy in. The mind wanders off, bring it back. If the mind's really wandering, you can repeat a short prayer or mantra. And when the mind wanders off, bring it back. Now, if you're new to this practice, you may not be feeling anything. I didn't at first, and over time, and it didn't take very long, I started to feel the most amazing sensations, tingling, a flow of energy in my body, sometimes warmth, peace, deep peace, fulfillment. And then I started to experience physical healings. So when I say essential to thriving, what I'm really talking about is an energy of health, of wellness, of happiness. I had a friend who, when he heard about this, he said, yes, and the first time he did it, he felt something. But then for months, he literally didn't feel anything, but he felt in his heart, yes, this is true. There really is this energy, and it really can help and heal. And then he had a healing, even though he wasn't feeling anything. Good morning, Lapiche. So if your heart says yes to this, but you're not really feeling anything, then just stick with it. And sooner or later, you will experience a healing. You will feel something very special. My friend had I think it was 18 years of pain in his neck. It was very, very uncomfortable. And then one day it just vanished. Now, to someone who's not heard of such things, that may sound radical or impossible. Certainly when I heard about it, I was very skeptical, and it wasn't until I experienced my first healing that I realized such things were not only possible, but real and actually natural. I started off by saying it's one more day of life. What to do? Well, here's one of the interesting facts about being human is that in every moment we're guided. In every moment. If you notice, And what do I mean by that? That we're guided in every moment. Well, through observing myself, what I've noticed is before every action, there's a thought. But where do these thoughts come from? Well, Bruno Gröning, the person who I mentioned at the beginning of this, said that we as human beings, we're like a radio antenna. We're constantly picking up thoughts and energy. And most of the time, people are living from a place of habit. They're just sort of unconsciously taking these thoughts and then being moved into action. And he said, what human beings need to do, in essence, what he said, I'm paraphrasing here or summarizing, what they need to do to live well is take in this good energy, become conscious of their thoughts, and then become conscious of their choices, to seek to be guided by goodness, by this good energy, to fill themselves up with it, and then to be guided by it. So let's have this intention. Let's have this, once again, engaging our will, which really is, will is a word we don't use very often in the English language. But what is will? But like our deepest intention, our deepest, when you say, I'm going to set my will to accomplish something, we really get determined. We really get focused. So let's set our will to receive this good energy, to be guided by goodness, by love, by peace, by harmony, by empowerment, by presence, to become conscious. So we think, what do I want to do today? But I would say, let's get even more fundamental. What are the fundamental principles by which I want to live my life today? What are the fundamental principles that will lead me to a good life today? In my experience, in my view, the number one thing is connecting to, again, there's different ways to say it, this divine energy, to the divine, and being guided by it, and then being in service to all of life while being guided by this goodness. So let's take a few more minutes and take in this energy. Hi, Jack. Welcome. Thanks for saying hello. Before we hop into meditation, I think it's your first time saying hi on this channel. A very warm welcome. So we're talking about a very interesting person named Bruno Gröning and some very simple, universal spiritual principles. And I call them universal because someone of really any religion or spiritual path, or no religion or spiritual path, could really connect with. And I would say find value in what he taught. So one of the things he taught is how to take in this sacred life energy. And the way to do it is to just have the intention to do it and observe your body, kind of like when you're in the sunlight, like it's a warm day and you're out in the sun and you're like, and you just drink in the sunlight. So just have that intention to receive. And observe your body with that intention. And Bernard Garnier said it's so important to do this practice every day, that we as human beings are like batteries, spiritual batteries, and that we need to charge ourselves up every day. So I'd like to thank everyone who joined in, and a warm welcome to Jack. Welcome to this channel. If you'd like more information about what I talked about, you can check out my website, thehealingstream.org. And so what to do today? What to do with this one more day of life? Well, for me, it's gotten pretty simple. Tune into this goodness, and my belief is that the source of this goodness is a great reality, the supreme reality that I call God. I didn't believe that when I first found this, but once I started experiencing healings in my body, I couldn't deny the existence of a supreme or great reality. So tune into that goodness, that love, that infinite wisdom, and be guided by it, and go do good. Timothy Leary was famous in the 60s for saying, tune in, turn on, and drop out. Well, if you feel drawn to that, you can do it. I would say it's more like tune in, fill up, and shine out. Meaning, tune into this energy, fill up with it, and then go and share it with the world. You don't have to talk about it. It can just be a smile. It can be a prayer. It can be picking up a piece of trash. It can be volunteering. It can be saying a kind word. Or it can be huge. It can be starting a nonprofit. But to fill up with this goodness, with this good feeling, with this joy, health, and love, and then to share it. And ultimately to see our life as being in service to that which gave us life. Different people call it different, have a different conceptions and different names for it. Wow, Jack, you felt the energy. That's beautiful. Wow. You're more tuned in than I was, brother. First time I didn't feel anything. First time I didn't feel anything. The second time I didn't feel anything. The third time I didn't feel anything. I think maybe the fourth, fifth, sixth time I did. But already by the second and third time, I was actually starting to experience actual health benefits. So I'm going to give you a link to my website. And Jack, if you come back to this channel, I'm going to make a short welcome to newcomers video, and there'll be a place to ask questions. And here's a link to my website that goes into more details. And thank you so much for joining in. Thanks for saying hi, Lepiche and Luna. And wow, now there's 6 of us. It's always hard for me to go. All right, so I'm going to share some more wisdom from Bruno Grini. Bruno said, I believe I can confidentially tell you to hand all your worries and all your suffering to me. Your worries as well. How I deal with them is my business. I've already taken on a lot, and I can still take on more. So that's one of the interesting things about Bruno Grini is he said he had the capacity to literally take on people's illness, suffering, and burdens. And when he was in his body, people would say, okay, Bruno Grini, have my my problem with my back, my problem with food, you know, and sometimes they would disappear. Literally just the health problems would vanish. And that's still happening now, even though Bruno Grini is not in his body. He's a friend in the truest sense of the word. All he wants is to help. And so a really good way to start this practice is before you begin to take in this energy is to hand over your burdens. And Bruno doesn't have a monopoly on being a spiritual friend, right? Throughout history, there have been many great people who have said similar things and done similar things, who have said, give me your worries or burdens. Someone who isn't seeking anything from us except to help us. That's what I mean by a true spiritual friend. And when I first heard this, I thought it was the nuttiest thing ever. Some guy who's not in his body is going to take on my problems. But I heard other people who had experiences, and I've had it happen myself. I've said, Bruno, take this, or you can have this, or I don't want this, or I don't accept this. And the illness has just vanished. And some healings have taken time, and some healings have happened in an instant. So, a very warm welcome to everyone. A very special welcome to Jack. So glad you found this. This practice and information has changed my life, saved my life. So friends, let's now tune in and ask, first of all, for ourselves, that we may become free from all burdens, worries, all evil, all bad habits, everything that stands in the way of us living a good life, a life of harmony, a life of being helpful. In essence, that we come into alignment with the great reality, with God, with love. And please, for everyone who visited this channel, everyone who joined in this video today and everyone who watched it, let's ask that this energy bless them and shower them. Now let's ask for any specific situations we have in our life. We all face challenges on a daily basis. Let's ask this energy to help with it, or ask Bruno or a helper you trust to ask to help in that situation. Let's ask for anyone in our life in particular that we want to bless or that we feel needs some help. We all have duties and responsibilities. Let's ask for help carrying them out. Please, please, for everyone carrying out the work of Bruno Gröning, please, for all the friends of Bruno Gröning, and now that would include Jack. Friend of Bruno Gröning just means someone who's heard of Bruno Gröning, who was drawn. So welcome, Jack, to this beautiful circle. For all those sharing the teachings of Christ. You may say, what? What is? Well, Bruno Gröning said that what he was teaching was simply the teachings of Jesus Christ. This isn't a religion. This is about a spiritual, natural way of life, which it's my utter conviction that's all that Jesus was teaching. How to live a harmonious, good life. And for all those friends of Christ, everyone striving to follow Christ, and for everyone striving to follow the good, especially for those who are trying to serve the good and trying to be helpful. And please, beautiful sacred energy, show us how we can be helpful. Now for the whole world, for everyone and everything, that it be showered with this good energy. And for each one of us as individuals, that we become completely free from all burdens, all worries, everything not good that blocks us from the divine connection. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks for saying hi, Lapiche and Luna. Jack, very special welcome. Yeah, please do. If you check back, Jack, in the next day or two, I'm gonna make a video for people who are new that will allow them a chance to ask questions. And there's lots of information on this website, and there's many, many videos here I've made about this topic. And a warm welcome to one and a warm welcome all. Okay, friends, so let's, and also Jack, this isn't a sales pitch, but it isn't. If you subscribe to this channel, you'll get notifications. I do spontaneous gatherings throughout the day, and you'll get notifications for that. And all right, friends, let's have a beautiful day. Let's stop every now and then throughout the day and tune into this energy. Let's be mindful of our thoughts. Let's have faith and trust that underneath all these problems, there's a fundamental reality that's good and that is available to help us if we tune in, if we listen with our hearts, if we become receptive. Thank you so much for joining in. Take care. Much love.